Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Bunnings NPC. This one, a semi-final between Otago and also Bay of Plenty. Two sides that have had some great form as of late. Otago on about a 6-match winning streak, whereas Bay of Plenty pulling off a massive win over Tasman in the quarterfinal of the competition. So this could be quite an intriguing one. It is down in Dunedin, so the home field advantage for Otago. They are the current Ranfurly Shield holders, although it will not be on the line for this matchup, but we will look through at their starting side as they are going to be as follows. We'll go like that. There we go. Otago for this matchup. They have got Abraham Poli in that number 1 jersey. I will mention they also have got the All Blacks XV players available for this match. So the likes of Christian Leo Willie, he is going to be there as the number 8. Lucas Casey, a man that many felt could have got selected for that All Blacks 15 side. He misses out, but he still will get a couple more games perhaps of the NPC. Dylan Pledger, another player who did not get selected alongside Cam Miller. So quite a few Otago players out of the running for that All Blacks 15. Jonah Nareki out on the left wing. Broomfield out on the other with Sam Gilbert slotting in at 15 and Umanga Jensen and Josh Wanga making up that midfield combination for Bay of Plenty. In this contest, they have got Tavera Mafaleo as the number 3. He is the lone All Black playing in this contest as he was released by Scott Robertson to be able to play for this game. Naitoa Akoi, he will captain the side after Kurt Eklund suffered that injury last week. That will now leave him out for the rest of the season. Now, the season could also come to an end at the end of this contest, but perhaps they've got next week in the tank as well. For Bay of Plenty, watch out for the back 3 because they have got Fehi Finia Nofo out on the left wing, Lasanga out on the right, showing some real promise in that last game up against Tasman, and then also Cole Forbes slotting in as that number 15. But overall, there are many superstars in these two lineups, and it's just whether or not they can put it together for this match down in Dunedin. Otago, they pulled off some pretty close games as of late, including their quarterfinal. They were able to win it up against Waikato 44 points to 41. It was the last-minute kick of Cam Miller that got them over the line there. As you can see, Bay of Plenty having a one-sided affair. Canterbury going to extra time, and then Hawke's Bay having a win over Taranaki as well. Those two sides, Hawke's Bay and Canterbury, they'll be playing tomorrow for semi-final number 2. We have got there, what's up, brother? Says Channel 2, welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well. We have got up the Bay of Plenty. I think Bay of Plenty will be too good for Otago because you have Sevens players. Says Kiwi Rob. They have got a few of those Sevens guys in there for this Bay of Plenty lineup, although they don't have Leroy Carter and also no Kurt Eklund. I think it's going to make a massive difference for the side. Also, if you are looking through All Blacks, they haven't got Amoni Narawa as an option here either due to his injury. But yeah, it's going to be a tough game. Definitely away from home. But if anyone was going to do it after that performance up against Tasman last week, Bay of Plenty certainly have put their name in the hat for the possibility of winning. We have got there as well. Hi, all, and Hamish from Robert V. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. We have got Jason Seco Otago listening to you commentary on the Autobahn in Bavaria. Are heading to Amsterdam, so it sounds like you're going to be very busy in the next couple of hours, Jace, but hopefully you are doing well, and hopefully you are excited for this match. We have got there, I think Bay of Plenty will do too good for Otago, and also we have got there, they didn't have them last week though, Hamish, or the week before, says Kiwi Rob. That is true, although they haven't played Otago in the last 2 weeks, and Otago have been showing some real promise near the end of this competition. They have been going from strength to strength, getting that shield off Canterbury and Christchurch, something that not many sides are able to do. And the one benefit I feel at the moment for Otago is they're starting to build some real cohesion in their starting lineup. They have been able to go week in, week out with roughly that same starting side. Also, I should mention their bench. In fact, we'll mention both sides off the bench because there are some real stars to make their way on late. Finn Hurley, we saw what he was able to do in the early stages of the Highlanders season. Sevens, of course, you can look at someone like a Narohi Makavi Black for Bay of Plenty. Mahasty there as the 21. Tamani there at 19. Some great players off the bench for both of these sides. But Will Tucker, he is going to be bringing up his 50th match for Otago in this contest down south. It's been a pretty handy asset for this Otago side. But this is the way that the table sat. Canterbury losing the one game. The only loss that they have had was for that Ranfurly Shield up against Otago. Otago, they have just had the 2 losses. Neither of those were for the Ranfurly Shield. Bay of Plenty, they have had the 3 losses, same with Hawke's Bay. So all the sides who were favourites for their semi-finals, their quarterfinals, actually did go on to win them. So you wonder if that is the case. Now, these two sides are considered pretty much a pick-em game. As you can see, Otago slightly the favourite there. Canterbury also the favourite for their game, so we could see an All-South Island final if the favourites do come through for the semi-final fixtures. We have there, I think it should be banned, bringing other players from other provinces, as in like signing them to your club should be banned. But what about those provinces that don't have a lot of homegrown talent? Are you just going to let them lose all the time because they haven't got the talent pool that the bigger regions have? We have got there Dam. I would have liked to see Pasilio Tosi, Rampaging Bull, running with Mafaleo. That would be a very dangerous couple players to have at tight head. Have Mafaleo even starting, and then Pasilio Tosi to make his way off the bench instead. But we are ready to go. Paul Williams in charge of this game. Cam Miller kicking off from right to left, and the semi-final of the NPC underway for 2025. Now, Bay of Plenty, they've got the early position and look like Will Tuck already got his head on the wrong side making that tackle. I am in charge of the scoreboard today, so if it's behind, we can actually blame me, unlike the online scoreboard, which sadly just updates itself. We'll go like that, and we'll go like that, and there we go. Nicely taken there by Cam Miller, who almost broke the line tackle by the captain of Bay of Plenty for this game, Naitoa Koi. I know the Southland player is playing for Otago this week. Didn't you hear of that? Says Kiwi Rob. I didn't. Which player? And if it's based off injury, I guess it's not really the end of the world, I wouldn't say. Yeah, they've just actually mentioned it there on commentary. Said because of injury that they had to make that change. Now, Cam Miller getting held up into a rolling maul from Bay of Plenty. And that one's going to come out. Paul Williams, charge of this one. Normally pretty strict on the breakdown. Howdy, Hamish and everyone. Really looking forward to these games. Says Thuds Rays there. That one's going to be kicked in behind by Bay of Plenty. Cole Forbes, man who struck it and now kicked downfield by Broomfield. And kia ora, Hamish, how's it, brother? Says David the Mod. How did Wellington go from winning the final last year to 10th? Yeah, they've had a bit of a rough patch. Although you could also argue they've had a lot more All Blacks selected this year, which I feel like is better for them, if that makes sense. Not for Wellington, but of course the Wellington region having so many guys in there. It was around Cam Miller's head too high. 1-0 penalty to Otago, says Lim Report. Still plenty of time. I'm sure they'll get a few. On off to the right-hand side, Dylan Pledger now popping it in behind Jonah Nareki. Wide skip pass goes over the head of Bay of Plenty's Fihi Whinia Norfolk. And it looks like there was a knock-on, first of all, from Otago. Not happy about it, Broomfield. We have good there. It shouldn't be allowed no matter what. You should have plenty of depth in your own area, says Kiwi Rob. I guess so. I'm not that fussed about it. He's not going to be an absolute game changer, I wouldn't say. Like, they haven't gone for the best possible player that they could have taken, if that makes sense. Which sounds a bit harsh, but, you know, they could have gone for someone better in that scenario. So the fact that it's someone close who also probably has a professional contract, then I'm not fussed. It's all right. There's more things to worry about in the world. Now looking for the scrum here, about 40 metres out from the line here, Bay of Plenty. The experienced head of Richard Judd, that number 9 jersey up against the protege Pledger. It's quite a tongue twister. You can try and say it like that. What a drop, says the Lim Report. And we'll have booked my flights to Christchurch next year for the Super Round. And now to wait for tickets to go on sale, says Novmum. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it does in the new stadium. I know that it's a little bit later than we normally get the Super Round. I think it's around late April. But yeah, some decent head-to-heads going to be taking place. Got the Otago have beaten Bay of Plenty 14 of the 17 times in Dunedin, including 5 of 7 at Forsyth Bar. So they actually have a worse percentage at Forsyth Bar than, I guess, Dunedin in general, which is an interesting one. Definitely up against a side like this Bay of Plenty team at the moment in some great form. I'm expecting a top game from Mighty Bay. I will laugh if the stadium isn't ready. They're riding a lot on the line. I guess they'll still have Orange Theory, worst comes to worst, but you know, you probably want to try and sell as many tickets as you can. Lasanga driven towards the sideline from Jonah Nareki, but a little bit too high from him. They're going to go back for the initial penalty. Since my sister lives there, free accommodation, says Novmum. And you probably want free accommodation because I'd assume they'll charge an arm and a leg for the ticket prices. But yeah, that's going right across the whole field. Back for the penalty advantage. This one a little bit too far out to be able to kick it. They're just talking about the youngster Lasanga out on the wing. He recently out of high school and already in the NPC. Don't think it will be too long before someone picks him up in the Super Rugby side of things either, even if it's in the under-20s. And yeah, that was a bit high, says David the Mod. One's going to be booted into touch. Crowd is bad for Otago. In what regard? Like, as in, like, it's bad in terms of numbers, or bad as in, like, you can't hear them loud enough? So we are only 3 minutes in, or 4 minutes, in fact, now, which means I should update my time because I'm in charge of that. Here we go. $90 for general admission for 3 days. Is that per day, or is that all 3 days for 90? Because if it's all 3 days for 90, that's actually not bad. Definitely, because last year watching Crusaders Highlanders, it probably cost $90 per person for all of us to go. It's not even sellout. It was never going to be. Now, Naitoa Koi nicely taken. Like, Forsyth Bar holds a lot of people. If we were watching this game take place from, I mean, Orange Theory is probably a good example. The fact that they should be able to sell that out up against Hawke's Bay, but also cricket taking place in Christchurch at the same time. Another penalty going the way of Otago. I just said there, Naitoa Koi in front of the ball. Now that Tui Piloto is injured, maybe Isaiwaka Leawiri could come in as injury cover. Here's a like-for-like imitation of him. Yeah, so I think they've gone Derry in, but whoever they bring in next is the intriguing one, because Josh Ward already in the squad, and now Sam Derry's in too. So from that All Blacks XB, you've got Isaiwaka Leawiri, you've got Naitoa Koi, and then there's also Josh Berry. So out of those three, depending on the game that they want to play, they may actually look at a Waka Leawiri. In front of the ball carrier, G says David the Mod there, little short line out from Otago, 40 metres out from their own line with Cam Miller. Booting this one high. Now nicely, oh no, not nicely taken. Actually fumbled it quite badly there, Cole Forbes, although there is another penalty this time going the way of Bay of Plenty. Plenty of early penalties against both of these sides. $90 not including food at the stadium. So here's Kiwi Rugby. Yeah, food's a little bit more expensive at Orange Theory, although it is at most stadiums anyway. You're going to struggle to get yourself a chips for less than about $8 anywhere at this point in time. Kicking this one towards the touchline now for Lucas Cashmore. This one will be about 25 metres out. Bit of a slower start to this contest. Both sides, to be fair, have been throwing it around. They just can't quite get that gap. Although we have seen some pretty high-scoring second halves throughout the NPC. Oh, already a warning there from Otago, or to Otago, from the referee about closing the space at line-out time. Line-out throw here for Tane Colossi. Normally they would have Kurt Eklund. And that one's going to go over the back. Awkward bouncing ball, but well claimed by Bay of Plenty. Looks like Cashmore's very slow getting back up to his feet and actually holding on to his eyebrow there. May have taken a knock. Now, Vakasiola with the carry. Lalomilo. They got about 30 metres out. A big driving tackle again. Otago defence, it has been strong all throughout the season. Otago, why are you playing like a few words that we can't say? I mean, they're not doing badly at this point. They've given away a couple penalties. Bay of Plenty have done the same. Their defence at the moment, from what I've seen, hasn't been too bad. They haven't let through a huge amount of metres. Of course, I may jinx it. And if so, classic case of the commentator's curse. And off to the right-hand side, the Steamers now sitting just the 20 metres out. And got advantage, Bay, get over that advantage line. So here's David the Mob, big driving tackle there on Lasanga. Now Judd goes back across Colossi, skip pass out wide, Cashmore, getting into the hands of the winger. Lasanga, he is tackled by Cam Miller. I imagine food will be expensive, but it is what it is. I'll see if they allow outside like sandwiches food in. We'll see. It will be interesting for the super round. I'd say they probably won't though. All backline movement going out wide. Chance here for Lasanga in the corner scoring. And Bay of Plenty scored the first try of the match up. There is one Bay of Plenty fan who is very happy about that one. But they will take the lead, and it is Lasanga who manages to score it. And that is how you answer an away crowd. Score early. Get yourself points on the board, just making the most of those couple penalties that we saw going against Otago. We have got their try time Bay of Plenty. So here's Kiwi Rob. Just good hands in the middle. And getting it out wide to Lasanga. Did have no one anywhere near him out wide. I thought it was initially going to be Fihi Whittingham-Norfolk out on that wing, but I think he may have shoveled it on earlier on in the back line. We have got there. Great to see Bay of Plenty make the game. says studs raised there. And shut the up Otago fans. I assume that is because they are booing Lucas Cashmore. And it has hit the post and bounced away. It's as loud as we've heard Otago all day, and I guess it has worked as he has missed. He's still got that cut above his eye, so I'm not too sure what happened there. But I know that it was an initial contact after that last line out where he seemed to stay down. He doinked it. Says the Lim reporter, I was thinking Bay of Plenty would win this. Let's see if they can keep it up. Says 10-2 there too. But already we are sitting 10 minutes through this semi-final. It will go very quickly. With the pace that these two sides will continue to try and play it throughout the whole of the first half. That's his name, Hamish. Says Thuds Race. Hori Bay of... Whose name? I haven't got a starting lineup or anyone in front of me. Whose actual name is it? So I don't remember seeing it in the starting lineup. Lucas is Adrian Cashmore's son. Says the Lim reporter, and Brandon Gamer said hello, Hamish. Welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well. Now, chance here, Dylan Pledger. Back across to the right-hand side. Tackle made on Gilbert by Tavita Mafaleo. He will find himself in the All Blacks camp in the very near future. Oh, a little bit of almost accidental obstruction offload there. Josh Wanga. Sitting about 20-ish metres away. That looked like just diving over the breakdown from Jacob Norris. So he gets himself a penalty advantage against him. Tucker goes across to Ollie Haig. Now stepping from Nareke. Little offload to Christian Leo Willie, who's put it down. They will go back for the penalty. You didn't see the new logo, do you like? I did see the new logo. That does look very professional, Otago, says Tony. That's forward, says the Lim reporter. I assume you're talking about that Otago pass into the hands of Josh Wanga. Right, they are saying no advantage, so we will go back now for the initial pass, I believe. As the guy with a spiky wing and painted face, unofficial Bay of Plenty mascot for the last 25, 30 years. Oh, well, there you go. See, I actually missed them because the first guy who they were showing celebrating didn't have any Bay of Plenty like merchandise on. So as the ball says, Tim, at the moment it is going to be the scrum feed here for Otago, sitting 20 metres out from the opposition line. And we have the Otago scrum, says the Lim report. They're just showing the history of Otago. Last NPC final was back in, I think they said 1995. It's been a little while if that is the case. Paul Williams just calling for a little bit of space and balance for the two teams. One second, we'll go like that. There we go. Updating the score and as well as the time. Currently 12 and a half minutes through. I must say it's been forever since I've been here, says Brandon. It has been quite some time, yeah, at least a couple months. Or maybe only a month or so. The year has been absolutely flying by. That looks like a Nasi Manu in the crowd looking on for this game. Now, ready to feed that ball in for Dylan Pledger. An outstanding game last week. Little short pop pass. Thought about the offload from Thomas Umaga Jensen. Now running it sideways here. Big fin from Broomfield. Sells the dummy. Lasanga has to drag him down 5 metres out from the try line for Otago. Pledger. Now going off to the right-hand side. That didn't look like Josh Wanga wanted the ball, but he's got it anyway. Tries to only about 2 metres out from the line. Now back across into the hands of Lucas Casey. He's already scored multiple tries throughout the season. Quick hands there. Thomas Umaga Jensen. That is an offload and a half. Out to Jonah Nariki. And he will score the try. And now Otago fire back. Lucas is Adrian Cashmore's nephew. In 1998, glory days of Otago Rugby. Landers were brilliant then too. Jonah Nariki. Man who would love to be brilliant for the Highlanders if he could just avoid those injuries for that little bit longer. Unfortunately, he has been plagued with them when the Landers are in action, but it was a good flat run initially from Thomas Umaga Jensen who created the offload chance. And the big fin from Broomfield to be able to get through not just one Lasanga, but almost two. And sorry, I've been busy with YouTube channel, so I can't be here much. I would like to. That was the number 14, says 10-2 for Otago. That is Jay Broomfield. And that number 14 jersey. And yeah, quite a part to play in that first try. And we have got the evening, Hamish. What do you think of South Africa or New Zealand to tour South Africa next year? It's one that it splits opinions. I'm excited for it, but at the same time, I'm sad that there won't be a rugby championship after what we saw be one of the best rugby championships we've ever had, if not the best. And sadly now, the comp's going to lose all its momentum, but they'll try and pick it back up. I think it's going to be a full rugby championship in 2027 by the sounds of it, so that is good news. It's going to be my team, Crusaders versus Otago, next week in the final. See Zane in there. That would be a home game for Canterbury if that is the case. I should have mentioned. Ahori Bay Plenty has been our mascot going back over 60 years. So here's David the Mob, but the kick has gone over from Otago as well, making the score now 7 points to 5 in favour of the home team. They will be looking to get themselves a 7th consecutive win in a row. They had the longest winning streak heading into the playoff games. They've got the ball now 40 metres out from the line. Ollie Haig, rush defence from Lalo Milo. Doesn't work out. Big shot on Cam Miller by Norris. Could Lucas Casey and Dylan Pledger be the hidden prophecy? Says Tanner too. Well, they're certainly hidden at the moment as they were not selected in the All Blacks 15 or the All Blacks, but I don't think... In fact, I would say if they both keep playing the way that they are, if they aren't selected within even next season, I would be surprised. But I would say if we don't have a New Zealand 15 next year, 2 years. Within 2 years, if both of them aren't in the All Blacks, I'll be very, very much surprised. But then it depends on what the plan is. World Cup year as well. 2027, they may look at it just after perhaps 2028. Casey hitting the ball up 55 metres out from the line. Pledger going back into the pocket to Cam Miller. Does put a high. Jonah Nariki just jogging after this one. Felt like he couldn't get there, so instead makes the driving tackle on Cashmore. Once he lands, ball almost on the side of Otago here as well, trying not to seal it off of the Steamers. I managed to keep that ball on their side. Hi, David, says Brandon. And also, I was about to ask about Sarah River Couture. Have you seen the schedule? I have. Interesting that last game is unconfirmed for location, but I think Twickenham looks like the most likely at the moment. Kicked high again this time by Richard Judd. Nicely taken by Cam Miller. Collision with Naitoa Koi. He's in the All Blacks 15. He's also spent some time training with the All Blacks this year, so perhaps not far away from that call-up. Definitely with the amount of injuries that we've seen just throughout this year. Ollie Haig to the halfway again. Thought about getting back to his feet, but couldn't quite do it. Now Pledger passes off to Jonah Nariki. That is a interesting looking pass. I think that it has collided with Naitoa Koi perhaps, because that's gone forward by about 5 metres. Now cross kick from Cashmore. A lot of space out wide for Fihi. Finian-Norfo, who does the step, gets around one Otago player, cut him back inwards. Nice pass to Cole Forbes, and he will score the try. And Bay of Plenty goes straight back with the assist to Fihi Finian-Norfo. And Cole Forbes, he scores himself the try. What we'll do is we'll go like this and we'll go like that. I think we're going to be updating the scoreboard quite a bit throughout this game, just by the looks of the way that both sides are running it at this point in time. There are a few hands on heads and a few hands on hips as well for the Otago defence after that one happened. Cashmore had the wherewithal to go out wide. And then Finian-Norfo just gets that pass across, and it was actually in the process of falling down for Finian-Norfo that it created a bit more of a gap for Forbes. Worked in their favour big time. The Steamers might be a high-scoring game. It does look that way. And the 4 years now go fast when you have fun and doing live commentary, says Brandon. It's no Southern Hemisphere Championship next year, Hamish. Sadly not. So I don't know what Australia and Argentina will do. They'll probably end up doing some sort of tour themselves. There's the Nations Championship, which is the top 12, or at least Rugby Championship and Six Nation sides, as well as Japan and Fiji. The winger was offside. There's the Lim report. Why don't they check for offside? I would assume that they would have looked at it afterwards. The TMO, that's normally what they would do in the build-up, or at least before the conversion is taken. I'm hoping Otago versus Hawke's Bay final. There's Tony there. The kick has gone over as well. I will quickly change that. Score now sits 12 points to 7. And question, Hamish, having 2 tests with Australia, that still happened? Yep, so Bledisloe Cup is still taking place next year as well. I believe that the schedule was recently released, so I think it's first there's, of course, the Six Nations. In fact, I think I've got the screenshot. We'll have a quick look. We'll go like this, and we'll go like that as well. 1 second. We will find it. And we'll go like that. And like that, hopefully. Is that going to show it? No, didn't like me. I have to find it again. Currently on the halfway line, Otago, Dylan Pledger. Picking that one up high again. One took a long time to come down, but that is going to be what looked like knock on by Otago, but it has been called as backwards from Williams. And Pledger going back across to the left-hand side. I'd assume that the TMO will get involved if needed. Now running forward again, Thomas Umunga Jensen. Off to the right-hand side. Ollie Haig. Big collision. Pledger back across to the right. Sitting about 25 metres out from the line at this point in time. We have got that in your dreams, Tony, says Zaynan. So you were going all South Island, weren't you, Zaynan? For yourself. Now Pledger goes back across to the right-hand side. Into the hands. Oh, beautiful offload from Sam Gilbert. Ball on the inside from Broomfield, and Josh Wanga dragged down just short of the try line. Pledger, he's had it ripped out of his hands. They've said backwards. Offload from Tucker, and Leo Willie goes over. There's a lot that needs to be checked in that try. But I think it's going to be all right. Maybe. Okay, they're just saying there that they would have scored the try anyway, but Christian Leo Willie, he will get the try that gets us back to a level playing field. 1 second, we'll go like that. We'll go like that as well. Yep, scoreboard's going to get updated every couple minutes by the looks of it. Come on, ref, says David the Mod. Yeah, that looked like a clear knock-on in the replay there for Otago, so they may have got a little bit away with that one, but beautiful offload from Casey initially, then Broomfield. And then just see, that looks like a knock-on too from Pledger, but I think there might have been a hand involved. But now Cam Miller ready to line this one up. And 5 checks there, says Studs Race. And I think they will, I might have Summer Penifino and Peter Larkai come off the bench for Ireland. Hopefully at least we get to see Peter Larkai. I'm not sure where they put Finau at the moment in terms of the order. I think he's a little bit further down, unfortunately, for him. But if he has a couple big games, maybe he moves back up there. Kick from Cam Miller has gone over as well. Bay of Plenty tackle on Pledger was illegal, so Bay of Plenty avoided a yellow card thanks to the try. Says Studs Race. I hope George sees my comments about being a sip. He did see that one, yeah. And amazed VAR didn't say anything, says the Lim report. Seems like not a lot has been said by it at all in this game. So I guess as long as it's consistent, and neither side are getting like that advantage, if that makes sense. Currently 23 minutes through. Pledger back into the pocket to Cam Miller again. Seems to be the stock standard move at the moment here for Otago. Let's get some decent distance on the kick as well. The steam has gone back across to the right-hand side. Kicking it up high. Oh, nicely taken there by Sam Gilbert. He has tackled by Jacob Norris. Now Pledger going for the kick behind it. Has hit the hand of the Steamers player, but he has managed to regather just before it goes into touch. Cashmore. Wide cutout pass across to Lasanga. He took way too long to kick that ball. Beautifully claimed by Otago. Wanga stepping back on the inside. 5 metres out. Looks for the offload. But this time Haig is the player who does end up putting it down. But that was very lucky. Lasanga, he doesn't often look like he's going to do much kicking. I think we've just seen why. Because he seemed very hesitant the way that he went there. But a big slapping tackle, or a big slapping charge down, I should say. 1 second, we'll go like this. I've just said there that Ollie Haig was not expecting it. He was getting ready to join into that breakdown. But did not need to in the end. See the inexperience of the young fella, says David the Mob. We are just seeing there points by quarter. The second quarter of the competition, it seems to be the most busy. 141 points total. I wonder if... What is that noise? Nobody watch NPC anymore, says Joey. I think they've done decent numbers-wise for this season, which has been great to see. Low tackle made now on Bardo. Now rolling this one back, Richard Judd, and coaches must think Fee is terrible on defence because he is electric on attack. Yeah, I was wondering about that, whether or not there's something about, like, something that they've seen that they decide against using him, because honestly on attack, there aren't too many better at the moment in the NPC. Super Rugby-wise, he was solid enough for the Hurricanes, plus he offers versatility of being able to play in the centres as well as out on the wing. I'm working now here in Bono Saba. But tomorrow we'll definitely watch my team. Crusaders beat Hawke's Bay. That's another knock on this time from Jonah Nareki. It's going to be the Bay of Plenty scrum. How can Paul Williams be that blind? See, here's Kiwi Rob. Now, to be fair, I'm pretty blind as well. And I do miss a lot. Handling here is 4 at the moment from Otago compared to the 2 of Bay of Plenty. Just saying about Dylan Pledger and the way that he just takes that little half shuffle and then he's through a gap. New Zealand Rugby Union absolutely shafted NPC, zero advertising for a decade. Good morning, how are you? Hamish says, Mohadin, welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well. I'm excited for this weekend. We've got more NPC tomorrow, which hopefully I'll be able to cover. I will mention that I'm playing cricket tomorrow, so depending on how quickly we finish that game will depend on if I am available to do that NPC match. And so Rugby gets the same amount of crowds as NPC. That's depressing. Says Tanner. Yeah, see, it's a tricky one, isn't it? In terms of the numbers, because I don't think it's just New Zealand sport either, or New Zealand rugby. Like, a lot of sports are struggling a little bit in terms of getting people to actually pay money to go watch them when they can watch them at home on a nice, comfy sofa. But, I don't know. The NPC, it still has that slightly retro feel about it. But it definitely hasn't been as, like, huge as it used to be. You're choosing rugby over New Zealand cricket. Says Studs Rays. You're choosing rugby over, as in, like, the Black Caps. Oh, that's going to be dropped. And then backwards the call there. It's been a lot of backwards so far throughout these matches, I must say. And Otago won at Canterbury earlier this year by 2 points. They did, and they took the Ranfurly shield off them as well in that department. 1 second, we will go like that. There we go. Oh, he's been told to use it, and it took a long time. Are you doing the game tonight? Sadly not, because I will be driving to junior cricket. I am helping coach them tomorrow morning, so I think it's about 45 minutes before they kick off between the Bulls and Connacht. I actually have to get in the car and drive about an hour to go to where they are playing. And then in the afternoon, I'm going to be coming back and then playing. So it's going to be hectic, but sadly can't do commentary in the car because I think that's illegal in some regards. One's going high, nicely taken. And dragged down about 40 metres out from the line there, Cashmore. Being told to use it again. A big collision. Judd, back into the pocket. Are you doing the Stormers game? We will be doing the Stormers game. I think they're playing Zebra, aren't they? Yes, Black Cats game tomorrow night, so I'll be keeping an eye on both. But if we are home, I will be doing the NPC. That one's going to be the penalty now in favour of Otago. No clear release coming from Bay of Plenty from Lasanga. I'll quickly update the time as well. Here we go. It should also say 14. Yep, there we go. I'm still working on trying to find it. Every time I look away, I end up closing my tab or my phone goes to sleep mode. One second. Fred. There we go. I'm sure I screenshotted it somewhere. But I have too many screenshots. There we go. Right. So next year, it's the Nations Championship in July. It's then International Tour Series in August and September. So that is the New Zealand versus South Africa Tour. Then it's the Bledisloe in October and then Nations Championship back in November too. I believe Pollard is not playing in November. Says Mohadin. Are you covering Rugby League? Probably not. We might end up doing New Zealand Samoa on Sunday if you guys are keen, but yeah, I probably don't know enough of the like players for those ones. Here we go. And now Cashmore, ready to put this one into touch. It's been a fast-paced 30 minutes of non-stop rugby. And this one not going for the 3 points. Instead, Cashmore kicks it to about 12 metres out from the try line. Go Otago, says Inacio. It's a good driving tackle from Lasanga there as well. And then no release that time coming from Cam Miller. And are you doing Australia and Japan game next week? Hopefully. In fact, Japan and Australia play tomorrow as well in the 15 side, don't they? This game flying by. It is. It's going very quickly. Nicely taken for Jacob Norris. Now rolling ball. And about 15 metres out from the line for the Steamers. I think if Simon Penifino comes off the bench, he should move to 8. It'd be interesting. Because at the moment, the thing is, they've got a lot of great loose forwards. And I feel like some of them are still not sure where they're playing in that loose forward trio. The likes of Peter Larkai, is he a 7 or is he a 6, an 8 maybe? I think an 8's the most likely, but then you've got Satiti who can play all 3, mainly 8, but played 6 last year and won Breakthrough Player of the Year in that jersey. Got Savia who can play 7 and 8. Simon Parker, he can play all 3. Now, ball stolen there by Otago, just out from their own line, and a big kick downfield from Miller to be able to relieve the pressure. Up to the halfway line. Little bit of a step from Lucas Cashmore. Offloads on the inside to Forbes, who's driven backwards in the tackle from Josh Wanga. A little stutter step there from Tain Kolossi. Back off to the left again. Are you doing the games in November? We are planning to. And hopefully, I think there's only a few that overlap with each other. Other than the overlap, so, oh, that's a great break and run from Davida Mafaleo. Sold the dummy, the big man. But tries to pop the pass up, goes to absolutely no one. And Ollie Haig kicking it downfield. Awkward bouncing ball, nicely taken by Cole Forbes. Haig straight on the ball. And tell you what, he's got unlucky not to win that turnover. Ollie Haig with the work that he put in there. Cashmore goes across to Lasanga. A lot of space in the middle. Looks for the offload to Lalomilo. Lalomilo steps around Pledger, but eventually is dragged down. I feel like when Tamati Williams, Fletcher Norman, Fabian Holland come off the bench, we didn't get enough go forward ball. Says Tanner too. So you think that Finau would be the answer to that situation? Because I guess now with the injury of Lomax, you got Null probably starting. More than likely, unless they are going to give the chance to Pasilio Tosi or go with maybe Tavita Mafaleo on debut. Oh, nice charge down again from Ollie Haig. That man has been absolutely everywhere in a driving tackle on Lalomilo. Sounds like a tongue twister, that name. Says Novmum there and Pledger, great tackle. Says Studs Ray's in there too. But Ollie Haig at the moment is working his way towards a man of the match performance. He's been absolutely everywhere. The crowd at the moment, oh, that's a head on head. It's a bit of a high collision, and that might get someone in a bit of trouble here. I think that sounds like a double blow of the whistle too, so they may just be checking it. They are saying he was looking at the ball. So there might be some sort of mitigation here. I don't like his chances. It's probably a yellow card. Lee Pollard is not playing in the Bulls tonight, says Mohodin. We're going to see it. He was rushing forward. That is head on head. So if they're consistent, that is probably going to be a yellow card. I've just said there, it clearly meets the yellow card threshold. So clearly meeting it puts you in a little bit more concern. They are just a bit untidy around the edges, and a yellow says, I lollipop. And damn it, that's danger. Yeah, he's upright. And the thing is, it's a pretty hefty collision for Tain Kolossi. And it is the yellow card here for Jay Broomfield. And rugby is soft, says the Lim report. I feel like if we had seen a Bay of Plenty player do that, though, you would have called for a yellow. So I think from an unbiased point of view, it's probably the right call. Head on head. He never really dipped down. Like, you know, a yellow's probably, he'd take that in that scenario, I would say. One moment, I'm about to sneeze again, so I will quickly mute. We are good. That one's going to go into touch here, about 15 metres out from the line. And again, the Bay of Plenty side have decided to turn down 3 points. They've already done it once throughout this half. In fact, they may have done it twice throughout this half, in fact. I'm thinking that'll get up to a red, says Studs Rays. And because remember the 2 French tests and the first Argentina test when Finau, Tossi, Norris and Tolkiaho came off the bench, we're getting a lot of quality go forward ball, says Tanner 2. Position at the moment, 54% in favour of the away side. Ready to throw this one in. Tane Colossi didn't go off for an HIA. And that is well claimed at the back from Vakasiola. Now pick and go Lasanga. Now 15 metres from the line, quickly recycled by Fihi Finianofo. This is where Otago's defence once again will be tested. They are playing with 1 less man on the field as well, so perhaps that left-hand side is where they should target Lucas Casey in the breakdown and wins the turnover penalty. That scenario, I don't even think they realised that Casey was legal. Bay of Plenty, and they kind of just left him. They said, no, you just go, have a crack at the ball, and he has managed to get that all-important steal for Otago there. We have got there, I suppose, an unconverted try. We'll give Bay of Plenty a lead at half-time, says David the Mod, and Dumb Decisions Bay says David the Mod. Yeah, they all kind of just, like I said, they looked at him and went, hang on, is he able to do that? They looked to the ref. The ref said, he's all good. And we're going to see it here. So he goes in. Richard Judd stands on his hand. The dirty halfback move there. Yeah, he's kicking his hand off the ball. That's old school from Richard Judd there. But, Pledger gets the kick downfield. The Stormers playing this weekend. They certainly are. They have got Zebra in their game. And that man Casey is having a great year, says Studs Race. Yeah, I feel like he's got hopefully a decent Super Rugby season ahead. I'm not actually sure who he's signed with at the stage. Is he with the Highlanders or is he somewhere else? Lalomilo tackled there. Gilbert gets in the breakdown. Thomas Umaga Jensen also trying to win that penalty. He wasn't quite able to do so. Lasanga trying to step his way through. Onto the ball this time for Thomas Umaga Jensen. Ball pots free. Gilbert jumps on it. They've ruled it as being out, which means he is able to dive on it and now kick downfield from Otago, trying to force Bay of Plenty deep into their own area. Nice step from Forbes. Does kick it downfield. And into touch. Do you think the Stormers will win tomorrow? I think so. I think they've got a decent enough side to be able to win away from home. Jonah Nareki looking for the 50-22, and he's got it. Great kick from Nareki. And now 4 minutes left in this first half. Which I will have to update. We'll go like that. There we go. Currently sitting with the 4 minutes left. And a great 50-22 from John Anariki. They may just have to make sure he was inside. I know he was, but whether or not there was maybe a pass that went back first, by the sounds of it, it is all good. I got you, good thing, Nariki, says Bruce. Or sorry, that was Studs Race. And 50-22 says the Lim Report as well as Knob Mum in there too. Now line out throw here. Sitting about the 15 metres out. Soshin looping around the back to the hands of Thomas Umaga Jensen, who has become more and more busy as this match has worn on. Pledger with the ball to Christian Leo Willie. Trying to get the steal and the breakdown. It's Bay of Plenty, but unable to do so. Ollie Haig again gets that a little bit closer. Pledger with the flat pop pass up to Josh Wanga. Oh, Richard Judd giving him a bit of a swinging arm there on Dylan Pledger, holding him in the breakdown as well. And that looks like it might be stolen by Tavita Mafaleo. Yes, it is. Bay of Plenty, they have got that ball back again. Should be getting passport on Monday. Then I can run back or run away to Timbuktu, says Novmum. And advantage risk is the Lim Report, and also come on Paul Williams. Now this one's going to be rolled back by Richard Judd. Looking towards that sideline off his left boot. And Mafaleo has been good. Yeah, he's probably showing why he was that guy that got brought in due to all the injuries for the All Blacks. He does look like a solid option. The question is, will Razor give him the chance in the November internationals? Pledger popping it in behind Miller. There is calls for the ball on the outside from Thomas Umaga Jensen, but Leo Willie first cut him back in. Cam Miller gets the pass. And Lalo Milo takes him down. Pledger cross again to the right-hand side. Hands of Will Stoddard in his 50th test match. Step from Leo Willie. Dragged down by Naito Akoi. He may have hurt himself, Akoi. He has stayed down for that little bit longer, but now back up. Stoddard's over. And Otago score themselves another one. Can't rely on big clearance kicks, says David the Mod. Yeah, that one really did need to find the touchline from Richard Judd. And GMO should be calling that off the ball on Pledger, says Studs Race. Yeah, I was surprised that they didn't look at it for Judd. Just because he seemed to hold on to him for a little while and also a bit of a swinging arm in there too. But Leo Willie with a good initial break and then popping it up to Miller. But now the lead, currently sitting with those 7 points difference. Well, Starlight has been so underrated. Yeah, gets over the line. In fact, I said for his 50th, but it's actually Will Tucker bringing up the 50, I should mention. Wrong Will. But just the 90 seconds remaining here. Cam Miller sitting 2 from 2 tonight with a 100% success rate. 37 metres out for this kick. And this kick could be massive because they are down by one man for the rest of this half and a little bit of the second. You know, you chuck a couple extra points on the board, you're probably pretty happy. And that one's gone straight down the middle from Cam Miller. Now making the score 21 points to 12. Just saying there about Cam Miller being the top point scorer. They just said there that no one's going to catch him. How many points Josh Shakem? He must have had 133, didn't he? But Taranaki gone from the competition. I was trying to do the maths in my head, working out who was actually ahead. Attendance at the moment, 10,700 for this match down in Dunedin. I see taken. Was that Jennifer Garner in the crowd? I wasn't watching, unfortunately. I do often miss the people in the crowd. They did show Nasi Manu before for long enough that I actually did end up spotting him. Now Pledger goes back to Cam Miller, who will put the ball into touch. 15 seconds remaining in this first half and still that man advantage for Bay of Plenty. So if you're going to score yourself a try or get some form of points, you're best to do it now while you have got that advantage. Ready to throw it in. Bay of Plenty made history last year with their first appearance in the NPC Tier 1 final. Not only that, they are staying competitive in this contest, turning down a few three-pointers already throughout this match. Going off to the right-hand side, Richard Judd, 22 metres out from the line. Judd goes back again to Taveta Muffalo, tackled by Ollie Haig. Like he's had a very underrated first half here. Bit of a juggle with the ball from Lucas Cashmore, but gets it on the outside to Fihi Whinianofo. And bit of a counter ruck there from Cam Miller. Ball picked up by Christian Leo Willie. That's just a ugly chop tackle from Lasanga. I'd like to think there was some arms involved. There is a knock on. It looks like Otago are going to try and run this one out, but yeah, looked like a really awkward tackle. Jonah Nariki chip him behind. That one's going to backfire as the ball now goes back into the hands of the Steamers, and because he kicked it away, advantage over Lasanga almost up the middle. Wrestled down by Lucas Casey. But that has gone from an easy opportunity for Otago to kick the ball into touch to now a counter-attacking chance for their opposition. How long is the yellow card? Still another 2 minutes or so remaining of the yellow card. Cashmore goes back across to Vakasiola, and that is knocked on by Taveta Muffalo. Otago now decide to kick that ball into touch. And it's going to be half-time between these two sides. 21 points to 12. Now, that is not enough of a lead to feel comfortable in this scenario, because we have seen bigger comebacks already in the NPC. 16 Taukiaho, 17 George Bauer, 18 Tossi, 19 Naitoa or Isaiah Walker Leawiri, and 20 Finau. Says Tanatu, and Paul Williams is giving Otago too much advantage. Says Kerry Robb, although there have been a couple that people have felt like he didn't give them enough advantage by not giving them a penalty. For instance, that Pledger and Richard Judd one, but no, it's been a pretty free-flowing type of game at the moment between these two sides. And it's anyone's for the taking. I think this one could easily go either way. Canterbury versus Hawke's Bay, that is the match taking place tomorrow. Now, this one was considered as pretty much a 50-50 between the two teams. And I feel like it's probably roughly the score that you'd expect. Watching from Kenya, loving the commentary, says Joshua, greatly appreciated for you tuning in. Of course, the Sevens not too far away. Kenya going to be in action in Division 2, I believe, and hopefully we'll be able to cover those leagues on the channel as well. Yeah, first half, a hectic pace 40 minutes of both sides just going, you can't miss a knock on, and then letting Otago score. So that's the TMO, who has obviously checked that, said that it's fine, and said to Paul Williams to still play on. As normally anything that is involving a try, or even outside of a try, the TMO, something has been missed, they normally come in if it is the knock-on or a penalty or anything along those lines. But these are the benches for these two sides, ladies and gents. Otago got that experience in the number 16 jersey with Liam Coltman. Also, Tamani is there as the number 19. Hasty at 21, and then Finn Hurley, I think, could be a bit of a game changer later on in the contest when the sides start to tie. For Bay of Plenty, they've got Hereti Atit, the Fijian, in their number 17 jersey. Also there, Narohi McGarvey Black. Probably a bit the same as well in terms of that impact that he can bring when opposition start to get a little bit more tired. He's used to that sevens kind of tempo, which probably isn't a mile away from what we've seen in this first half. In terms of everything's all-out action taking place for this match. Also, the final next week, it is going to be taking place at 7:10 p.m. Now, I'm not sure whether or not there's any games that overlap with that. I'll have to find out when Australia are playing up against the Japanese. That might be, hopefully, a little bit later than that. But it might actually be earlier now that I think about it. We'll just have a quick look while we're at halftime. Men's International Rugby. Japan play Australia at the same time as the final of the NPC. Who worked that one out? Not sure, but that's going to be an annoying overlap. But yeah, quarterfinals-wise, the match between Hawke's Bay and Canterbury, it is going to be taking place a little bit later on in terms of Saturday. And that will be the 7:15 kickoff as well. Canterbury hosting Hawke's Bay for that game, and the winner will take on the winner, of course, of this contest here. And great commentary, Hamish says, David Mod, do appreciate it. How many games do you think we will win during the Springbok Tour? Are you saying we as in New Zealand, I assume? I think that, 2-2 they'd probably be happy with. We have there who gives an F about Australia A. You're a Kiwi, not an Aussie. It's not Australia A, though. It's the Wallabies Kiwi roll. It's next week. It's Australia A versus Japan. It is happening tomorrow, whereas the Japan versus Australia game is happening next week. So stop swearing and listen. We have got there Naitoa Leaweri comes on for Scott, and he moves to 6, and then Finau comes on for 8. You really want Finau in that number 8 jersey, don't you? I guess if you keep on saying it enough, eventually it may get to Scott Robertson, and he might go, you know what, I've had an idea. I know it's not Australia A this weekend. I wasn't talking about this weekend. That's why I said to turn your ears on so that you can hear what I'm saying and listen. I know that Australia A are playing up against Japan. Well, it's Japan 15, Australia 15 for it. But next weekend, which is the one that I was talking about, is Wallabies versus Japan. But they are just showing that try of Lasanga out on the left-hand side. There was a bit of a slip there from one of the Otago defenders. It may have actually been, I want to say it was Sam Gilbert, who had a bit of a slip and a slide. And from there, Nariki able to fire back with a try of his own. The offloader of Thomas Umanga Jensen. And then firing back the Lucas Cashmore cross kick to Fihi Finia Norfo. And then the inside ball to Cole Forbes. And all he had to do was just run it in untouched by the defence. And then the last try that we saw of the half. In fact, the second last try, it was Christian Leo Willie. And then the last one that we saw was Will Stoddard. And Lasanga really has got wheels, and South Africa will throw everything at the ABs. When we're over there, I'm remembering the Cavaliers tour. South Africans were ruthless, says David the Mod. And I just hope that they take a big squad over New Zealand, because they are going to be playing up against those URC sides first. And there will be, unfortunately, injuries. That second try shouldn't be allowed. He ran behind his 9. Says Kiwi Rob. Whose team are we talking? We're talking Otago, or you're talking Bay of Plenty? Halftime stats at the moment, 55% possession for Bay of Plenty, the away side. 9 offloads from Otago compared to the 4 offloads that we have seen from Bay of Plenty, but they have missed 15 tackles in that first half. Otago have missed 13, so a little bit high in terms of the tackle misses. Tackle breaks, so 15 for Otago there too. But both of these sides ready to go for the second half. Hi, Hamish, how many URC games this weekend for you, says Yarnlu? I'm hoping to do 3. I believe is the plan. They're just talking about, maybe 4, actually, might be 4. But they're talking about almost the 11,000 in attendance for this one. Never got to see the Cavaliers game, wasn't in New Zealand TV. Their studs race. They should give us a bit more balance in the pack between, because Naitoa Leoweri and Finau at 8 do all the ball carrying, whilst Holland and Barrett can do all the clean-outs. Says Tanner 2. Looks like a decent enough crowd, like I mentioned just before. They would absolutely love a home final, and it can happen if Otago win this game, and then from there Hawke's Bay manage to beat Canterbury in the game tomorrow night. But that is, of course, the big if. Hawke's Bay are considered as the underdogs there, although we have seen a couple underdogs throughout the NPC do very well, but not so much in the playoff rugby. Every single favourite managed to go on and win their game of the quarterfinals. I'd say the second half of this contest only sitting less than 5 minutes away. Do let me know your predictions for that Canterbury versus Hawke's Bay game while we are at it, ladies and gents. Hawke's Bay hasn't beaten Canterbury. Says Kiwi Rob, and big game Connacht versus the Bulls today. Says Jan Lu. And there as well. I just show them the hype package for the All Blacks as well as they head north. Their first game up against the Irish on the 2nd of November. Also going to be playing up against England, Scotland and Wales. So no France and also no Italy for the ABs in November. Canterbury says David the Mob for who's going to win that game tomorrow. You see, they both have pretty interesting games in terms of that last match. Canterbury having to go to Golden Point up against Counties Manukau, but I feel like that would have made them that little bit stronger too. Although it was very close to them getting defeated in that game. And then from there, you had Hawke's Bay who weren't really challenged as much as they would have liked to be maybe, but then that could mean that they're a bit fresher heading into this weekend's fixture. Just trying to work out if Bay of Plenty, the lineup that they got and the guys off the bench, I feel like they've still got a decent crack at probably another 2 tries at least in this contest. It's going to be whether or not Otago can get themselves an early try here, because that might make the difference. That may win them this game. They can score first with the man disadvantage again. Go on and get themselves another one. That would almost be enough. Only just though. And I'm talking probably, even with another try, we may be split by less than 7 points between the two teams. But yeah, plenty of URC also taking place this weekend, as well as next. That should be a red card, says Kiwi Rob. Are you talking about the head-on-head collision for Jay Broomfield? The thing is, we've seen cards given for that before, of yellow and red. So it's honestly just wait and see. They'll either give them one or they won't. But either way, I feel like I said, we've seen them stay as yellow. We've seen those given as not even penalties, or just a penalty before as well. But in this case, the yellow card for Broomfield, who did start this match extremely well. It would be very good for Bay of Plenty if he wasn't to come back out on the field, because he had a slight assist, one of the earlier tries. Canterbury are kind of limping into the finals. A massive game last week. Picking their forwards to do the job, though. Says studs raised there. And yeah, it's just whether or not all of these tough games for the Cantabrians does add up a little bit. Whether they can, because it's finals rugby. And I know that last week was a final as well. And I guess you could argue that, they still found a way to take down a Counties Manukau side that have been very strong in the later stages of the competition. Oh, it's a warehouse ad. I was wondering what it was, because it was a whole heap of All Black stuff. I thought maybe because they kept on using the word super, it might have been super cheap auto, but it was not. Second half of this contest. Just have a quick look here. Okay, first half finished about 11 and a half minutes ago, so normally about 13-minute halftime break, which does mean we've probably got about 90 seconds remaining for the players to get back out onto the field. Except for the one who has got a yellow card. We are waiting to find out whether or not that will be upgraded, but I think that will be one of the first things we hear when they show Paul Williams at the start of the second half. We'll be nervous, Jay Broomfield, of whether or not he gets to continue in this matchup. Currently the 9-point lead for Otago. 3 tries, Stoddard, Leo Willie, and also Jonah Nariki, the other man who has been able to score it. Then the 2 tries for Bay of Plenty, Lasanga. Then also the later try coming for Cole Forbes. Biltong or Carrot Cake. It depends on what, like, they're very different, aren't they? And I don't think they combine too well unless you want to dip your Biltong in your Carrot Cake, but I guess it just depends if you want something that's like going to take a bit to chew or whether you just want something that will just flow down the gullet. We have good there because if you noticed in the second Argentina test, we're relying on Barrett and Holland to do a lot of the ball carrying in the second half. Says Tanner too. I feel like you're gonna have to send Razor a letter. And I don't know where he lives, so maybe an Instagram message instead, if he even has Instagram. To be fair, if I was a coach, I'd probably delete all social media. It's just better for the mental health. But I'm sure there's a way to reach out to him and say, hey, how about you try this? See what happens. Just showing there the conversions. There was a missed one from Bay of Plenty, so that has put them behind by the more than 7 at this point in time. Currently sitting the 9 points separating them. Over 500 metres made for both of the sides. How soon do you think Kelly Lasanga will get a Super Rugby contract? If he hasn't already got one, I would give it, like, if he's not playing this year, maybe next year. And to be fair, he can still play in the under-20s Super Rugby because he is that young. So that may be the option that they end up going with. I don't know about you, Hamish, but I hate the Turner's ad. Does my head in? Which one? Is it like all of them or just the like most recent one that you don't like, David? But that one's going to be kicked off now and we get back underway for this contest. So we didn't hear anything about an update on that yellow card, or at least I didn't, but that was maybe because I was talking. I'll pledge you back into the pocket. Mr. Cam Miller, who does get that ball into touch. The Steamers, they are in a good position on the field at the moment. Cam Miller asking for a few extra metres from the touch judge, but does not get them. It's a big chance for Bay of Plenty. And to be fair, I feel like the absence of Kurt Eklund has been felt here. Not just for the hooker role, because I do think that Colossi hasn't actually gone that badly in that regard, but I do think just that leadership of this Bay of Plenty team, anytime that they've been down a little bit, they need something big. That's one of those players like a Naitoa Koi could really step up. That wasn't a straight line out, but it is straight enough as the call for Bay of Plenty, and they are on attack now. Lalomilo on the arm of Lasanga, who has already scored himself 1 try in this contest. Back across to the right-hand side now. Nice shoveling the ball on. Another offload. Here comes Lasanga. This time Kelly. The one with the Tina singing Sell Me Your Car. That sends my mental health through the roof. I assume you're at that point. You're probably muted or changed channel by now, are you, David? For that one. Now going off to the left-hand side. Little step from Bardal. 22 metres out. Stoddard making a good tackle, same with Christian Leo Willie. That one called as a tackle. He gets back up and has another crack there. Another offload. Richard Judd thought about it, but decides better to take the grounding. Now off to the right. Mafileo thought about shoveling it on. Seems like at the moment for the Seamers, there's a bit of hesitation. They do that first pass and then they're not sure who they're going to next. They can get some sort of swift backline movement going. They may catch Otago a little bit off guard, mainly because of the fact that they are playing with 14. Going off to the right-hand side. A big collision there. Bartlett chopped down. Richard Judd off to the left-hand side. It's about a 3-on-1 overlap on the outside, but Bartul just couldn't quite carve to the left-hand side. Play halfback again for Tayan Colossi. Now Naitoa Akoi popping it across. The right-hand side, wrestling down to Vita Mafaleo. There's Soshin. Now, little grubber there. That wasn't the choice. Big tip tackle almost on Kashmir. Referee has got the arm out, but I don't know what that was for because it has been called as just play on. That one's going to be booted into touch by Cam Miller. Decent kick downfield this time. They do survive. They have plenty, just like I said, not quite linking up. In that scenario, looks like he will be making his way back out onto the field here for Jay Broomfield. So just a yellow card. And now Otago back to 15. They'll back themselves from here on out. As long as they can stay with the 15 on the field. On out again for Tane Colossi. 45 metres out from the Otago line. If Bay of Plenty want to get back into this contest, they do need to be the next side to score. Nicely taken by Arkoi. Now Cashmore. It's across to Lalo Milo. Short ball to Cole Forbes. And in the breakdown, it's a great steal from Junanariki. Just in those breakdowns, lightning quick for this Otago side. It's going to be about their 4th or 5th time that they have done that throughout this match. Hanging on, penalty going against. They have plenty there. This one is Cam Miller's distance, I would say. It's about 54, 55 metres out. But more than likely, they will kick this one into touch. That one's going into touch there. Deciding against the 3 points. I think that's the first that Otago have decided to turn down, or at least the first that I can think of in quite some time. Jananariki at the moment, Bunnings NPC most of all time for Otago. He is second. The only man ahead of him is Josh Timu with 46. Oh, sorry, John Timu, not Josh. I was about to say Josh Timu hasn't played that much rugby. They showed him before on the sideline. But yeah, John Timu as the man up the top. And geez, he did well to beat the ruck there. Says Studs Race. And Barra and Tupavai do a lot of the ball carrying in the second half. And Indras Lord to come off. Says Tanner 2. Now 20 metres out from the line. Pledger going back across. Nice step from Lucas KC. Almost managed to get through the tackle attempt on Josh Bartlett. To the left again, Christian Leo Willie. Tackled by Tavera Mafaleo. Another step, a big driving tackle there. Bay of Plenty. Their defence cannot budge. If they make any sort of mistake now, it could cost them this Bunnings NPC title. Ball kicked out the side. Pledger does well to pick it up, and even better hands from the big man, Will Tucker. And off to the left-hand side. Still 20 metres out from the line. Big collision for Stoddard. He's already scored himself a try in this contest. Pledger going off to the left-hand side. Cam Miller breaking the line. Ball back on the inside to Pledger, who scores the try. And they have got themselves another Otago, and that may just about do it, depending on what happens next. I'm very glad I didn't make the comment I was about to, because I was about to say Pledger hasn't had too many runs so far throughout this game. Instead, it's just been that picking or kind of passing to that first receiver, but this time was in support, ready for the inside ball from Cam Miller. And they get over again here. Should be a nice, easy kick as well. If Cam Miller's been slotting them over from the sideline, he will certainly slot them over from 10 metres out in front. They'll make the split of these two sides 16 points now. The Otago building up a very nice lead. Setting 100% accuracy, and that will continue here for Cam Miller. A little bit of a conversation with one of the water carriers as well there for Miller. And gee, says David the Mon, yeah, that one will hurt Bay of Plenty a little bit. I mentioned how they could not afford to concede first. They really can't concede again, though, or it will be completely game over. I know I keep on saying this is close to game over, but the NPC's high scoring normally. We've got time. They have to be next, or else they might be done here. Bay of Plenty ready to kick this one off, though. Wakasiola going off the field for Pai, and also Johnston onto the field for Lasanga. All broken away there, Liam Coltman. His ankle's taken down. Off to the left-hand side, a little bit of a stutter there from Casey as he gets the offload away to Abraham Pole. Bay of Plenty can't panic, still 30 minutes. Exactly right, it's a long time. But they can't let Miller through. Or anyone of the Otago backline for that matter. Now Pledger back across to the right again. Coltman. He's got a huge amount of experience in these type of scenarios too. Now a little kick him behind. NPC games, that is, not playoff games. He hasn't had too many of those throughout his time. And that one's rolled in touch off the kick of Broomfield. 32 minutes left. 16 points difference. I mentioned about how Otago, at the moment, they've just got such cohesion in their backline. Pledger and Miller, they're on the same page. Gilbert from 15 seems to slot in very nicely when he needs to. The midfield are Josh Wanga and Umanga Jensen. They both get heavily involved. And then Broomfield, as well as Nariki out on the wings. There is hardly a weak link at the moment for Otago here. which I think is what is really crucial for the way that they've been scoring throughout this game. Nicely taken by Norris. Now ball will be kicked high. They have plenty actually making a change, taking Richard Judd off the field, and that is going to be for the youngster Charlie Sinton. Cam Miller breaks the line again for Otago. Now 30 metres out, Pledger back across, little step there from Casey, another offload, always seems to be able to find one. Tavena Mafaleo got into the breakdown but couldn't quite get the steal. Gilbert rushed defence from Lasunga, shuts it down. Gilbert knocks it on to the breakdown. It will now be a scrum fee for Bay of Plenty, just the 25 metres out from their own line. A quick tempo at the moment. It's a nice step, Cam Miller. Seems like he has come alive in the second half. He had a few running metres in the first, but of course, second half, he's probably already topped those metres from the first 40. Well, Otago going well, says Moa Hunters. Yeah, he's at 145 points. One second, we'll go like this. And I like that as well. Great call. Hamish Otago backline clicking for weeks. Says Studs Rays. And yeah, it just seems to be each and every time that they play, they get that little bit sharper. Which is why, you know, I was asked about it yesterday at work, and the fella that we were working for, he follows rugby quite closely, and he was asking who I was backing in the NPC. I said if I had to pick someone based off current form, I'd go with Otago. And I don't mind that pick at the moment. Of course, it's very easy to say that when they're 16 points up. But I said that, you know, South Island side look likely this year. So the only side at the moment either is Bay of Plenty, if they can get this last 30 minutes right, or Hawke's Bay have to try and stop it from being an all South Island final. That one's going to be knocked on again by Bay of Plenty. That's not going to help. It's dropped by the Bay of Plenty hooker. They have got Sione Tupo to make his way off of the bench. I don't think he'll be too far away from that. Second semi-final that has taken place at Apollo Project Stadium in Christchurch tomorrow. 3 changes coming off the bench now. I think that's the front rowers. Hiriti Atit and also Bennett Kumiroa will also make his way onto the field. He's in the All Blacks 15. He was selected in that squad. They're just showing the Heartland Championship. Was that the final? Was North Otago taking on someone? Did Mid Canterbury win their semi-final? I know that South Canterbury lost. I'm not sure about Mid Canterbury though. They end up losing as well. Oh no, sorry, they're in the Meads final. North Otago versus Horowhenua Kapiti in the Lacour final. Oh, another penalty going the way of Otago. But now 28 minutes left in this contest. Now just showing those 3 changes that were made in the front row for Bay of Plenty. They need someone off the bench to really bring a huge impact here. Cam Miller. Get ready to kick this one into touch. I think he will play. Well, the thing is, I think he'll play 65-ish minutes. And then if they're still ahead by this much, they can probably afford to take him off. But I think you want one more try before you do anything with Cam Miller in terms of taking him off. Jamie Joseph watching on in the stands. Of course, he is a coach of the Highlanders. There were thoughts that maybe a few of those guys from the All Blacks 15 weren't selected from Otago because he wanted to see them win the NPC. Now thrown in. Is nicely taken. Rolling forward for Otago here with Liam Coltman wearing the headgear at the back of the mall, but someone else with the headgear there, Samisi Paya, trying to go through the middle, and he may have almost tied this ball up. No, just comes out the back for Pledger. We see there Hurley is on the field for Josh Wang, a big driving tackle from Lalo Milo. Trying to pick who Jamie Joseph was sitting next to, didn't definitely recognise him. Says Studs Rays. Oh, a little bit of push and shove here. 1 second, I'm going to go back. Where is he? I'm going to look for him. Who is he? He's got the Otago kit on as well. I'm going to send a picture to my parents. They might be able to help. Just while we're paused. 1 second. I'll go like this. Take a photo. Who's this? Is what I will send my mum. We'll see whether or not we get anything back. He's probably an ex-player of some sort, I would think, but I'm not sure. If she comes back with Jamie Joseph, by the way, because he is in the side of the picture. Now Pledger feeds the ball in again. This one going off to the right-hand side, this time for Pledger. Looping around Gilbert. Now back across Finn Hurley. Lot of pace for him. Almost wrestled into touch. Had to bend his arm awkwardly to keep that ball alive. But it does go into touch. In case you think, don't know. He's got the mutton chops going anyway, whoever it is. Finn Hurley just runs out of space. You get driven into touch by Cole Forbes. The steamer's sitting 20 metres out. Nicely claimed this time. How is your mum, Hamish, when she's coming back on? Well, she was actually here for the last win that Otago had from games that we covered. She was here for that Canterbury Otago match in the second half. Which I think she was happy about because Otago managed to get themselves that shield. But no, she's doing well. We'll have to try and get her on at some stage in the future. On off to the left-hand side, Pledger going off Christian Leo Willie. Now step there from Cam Miller. Big collision again. The last thing that they would want is any sort of injury for him. They'll grub her in behind. Attempted there, but it is blocked. Thomas Umunga Jensen, big sell of the dummy. Or he is tackled by Joe Johnson. Back across to the right, Sam Gilbert. Skip pass, looked a little close to forward, but it goes into touch anyway. 25 minutes left. This is going to feel like a long time for both of these sides. Otago, when you've got a lead of 16, you'd feel confident, but you know that in this type of competition, it's not over. And there is still more time. For Bay of Plenty, they need to start that comeback. One big try. About all that they need. And then a couple more, of course. Going off to the right-hand side, it's going to be the youngster, Sinton. Collision on the halfway line. Otago's defence throughout this game has been relatively solid, although both sides combined missing 28 tackles throughout that first half, now going into the hands of Kelly Lasanga. To be tackled by Hurley. Now again, back to the left-hand side. Lalo Milo. Iriti joining into the breakdown. We haven't seen a huge amount of Fihi Whinianofo throughout this second half. I don't think they've actually managed to get it out to his wing too often whatsoever, although there is a 23 on the field. I assume that's Naroi McGarvey Black, which would mean that Fihi Whinianofo may not be on the field anymore after his first half. Otago is winning, says Dana 2. They certainly are by 16 points as well. Pretty handy margin to have at this stage of the contest. 57 minutes through pick and go from Naitoa Akoi, but the ball's stolen. Jana Nariki in a foot race there with Lasanga. He is caught from about maybe 40 metres out from the Bay of Plenty line. Pledger back across now. Finn Hurley plays first 5. Now a big step and almost through the gap for Lucas Casey again. Pick and go. Ollie Haig offload there, stolen for Naroi McGarvey Black. Bay of Plenty now back in possession. Sinton. To the right-hand side. Low tackle made on Bennett Kumiroa. Now Sinton rolls it back once more. Some of these guys will be in action in only a couple weeks' time for the All Blacks 15. See taken again, Hurley. Nariki. Looking for the chip in behind again. He's done that a few times. That might be an injury to one of the Bay of Plenty players. He tried to charge it down and actually ended up colliding his knee with Nariki. And Nariki's got that ball back again. Diving through the breakdown there. Coleman, ball stolen by Lasanga. It's been about 3 or 4 turnovers in the last minute and another one there for Otago. They get themselves the penalty. Right. This might be the win here. If they can score off this, there is no catching Otago with 20 minutes to go. So maybe a bit of an injury here at the moment. Don't do that, Will Tucker. He's just said that he wants a shot at the post. Cam Miller's calling for the post as well. Okay, so they've decided that 16 points turning into 19 would be enough. Gives them a bit of a spell too. It's been played at a frantic pace. But I am surprised that they are opting to go for the 3 here. Nicely done by Lasunga initially. And yeah, just losing the footing in the breakdown there up against Bay of Plenty. Cam Miller is already sitting as the leading point scorer throughout the competition, so this will increase that by that little bit more. And like they've said, it is just to keep the board ticking over here. For Otago has not missed as of yet. And that one has gone over. Make the score now 31-12. Favour of Otago. Like this, it also gets them closer to that 60-minute mark. There we go. 31 points to 12. Bay of Plenty ready to kick this one off again. And geez, he's got an accurate boot, something New Zealand Rugby definitely needs. Yeah, he doesn't miss too often. He's got 150 points throughout this NPC season, and just the way that he's been running as well. You know how sometimes you get those accurate kickers who don't do a lot when it comes to the attack? And I don't want to give examples because I feel like that's just harsh. But there is one player who comes to mind out of South Africa, not Andre Pollard, by the way, outside of international level. But there is a player who does predominantly just kick that ball away, and then he will get most of his kicks over. Whereas with Miller, you got a little bit of everything. He's broken the line again, Cam Miller. And Naitoa Akoi gets the steal that time for the Steamers. Now Sinton looking for the kick towards the sideline. That's not going to win them this game. Just kicking it downfield is going to feed Otago's back 3. Broomfield kicking downfield. He's chasing after this one. Taken by Forbes, back across to Lucas Cashmore. Little chip attempted by him, straight to Pledger. Back into the pocket. And now looking for a 50-22 of their own here, Otago. Running it back out for Cole Forbes. Going to be taken by Broomfield. Offloads to Jonah Nariki. Otago will be loving this, because any kicking battle takes about 15 seconds out of the game every time there's a kick. And Bay of Plenty continue to engage. Sam Gilbert looking for the offload. Little mistake made there. Well, it's gone backwards though. Nicely taken by Will Tucker. In fact, they're calling it as a knock-on by... Oh, knocked on by Blue. I think Pledger did actually knock that one backwards, but it is going to be the scrum to Bay of Plenty. Looks like a couple more changes are about to be made. And Joe Tamani, sounds like he will be making his way onto the field. 19 minutes now remain. The crowd, big round of applause here. Ollie Haig, he has been, honestly, if they hadn't scored some of the tries that they had. Okay, I just heard Paul Williams say they're just going to get everyone set. Right, we're going to see the replay here. Did Pledger knock this on, or did this go back? Would have gone back, but it's still going to be the scrum for Bay of Plenty. Well, yeah, I think the game is won at this point. Says Tanner, yeah, unless Bay of Plenty can score before 65 minutes. Because the only thing that taking that 3 points for Otago did is give Bay of Plenty a chance of 3 tries to win it from here. But that's very hard to do when you've only scored 2 throughout 61 minutes of the game. Now the scrum, Sinton, goes back across to the left-hand side. Oh, Narik is down, and that is an injury for Jonah Nariki. That could be anything, because that man has had his fair share, so that could be a broken arm or something as small as just a bit of cramp in the wrist. He doesn't look happy. Jonah Nariki. A good kick downfield by Cam Miller. They've actually decided that they want to take it quickly, but they're not able to. Nariki, he's holding the forearm at the moment. Sam Gilbert reminds me of Syndrome from The Incredibles. It's probably not a bad shout, I would say. It's just like, I mean, Vincent Koch, he looks like the dad. Who else is in The Incredibles? Oh, that one's not straight against Bay of Plenty. True. How the heck does Bowden Barrett not have a goal kicking, or have the goal kicking at this point? Yes, I know D-Mac had a shocker last game. He seems to get all the important ones, says Tanner too. But yeah, if Cam Miller, like, he's had to slot over some pretty nerve-wracking kicks throughout this season. Although I will mention, every once in a while he will miss that big moment one, but I feel like the more that he has them, the more chances he'll get. I remember that game between Crusaders and Highlanders last year. He missed the kick to take them to Golden Point up against the Satyrs in Christchurch. But, you know, like, he is still one of those players that will continue to get better. I think he's like 23, I want to say. He might even be younger, Cam Miller. He is, Cam Miller is also an NFL player, fun fact. He's 23. 13th of July is his birthday in 2002. Now, Pledger goes off to Sam Gilbert. He was almost through, but Sinton makes a very crucial tackle to stop another line break. Leo Willie down with a little bit of, I don't know if that's cramp, but it looks pretty bad. But Leo Willie, he's trying to run it off, which would make you think it's cramp. One of his legs doesn't work. A nice offload, although not nice enough, as it does go straight to Bay of Plenty in the end. I think there was a miscommunication. Ethan Blackadder definitely not Elastigirl, says Studs Race. Bit of an injury here for one of the Bay of Plenty players as well. Everyone's going down. The final moments of this game. Now not back Gilbert. Goes to Jonah Nariki, nicely taken by Umanga Jensen. Now Pledger, bit of a counter ruck there, but ball's still available for Otago. Offload 17 throughout this match. They have been incredibly busy. Breakdown steals is 5-3 at the moment in favour of the home side too. Pledger kicks it high. Nariki thought about chasing after it, but instead will make that tackle on Cash Moore, who does drop the ball. I think they might want to go with Rayhana and Jacob. Jacob's got international experience in the Barbarians, and Rayhana played a solid game against the Chiefs in the final, says Tanner too. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Jacob goes, because in that game up against the Barbarians, from memory, he actually had a shocker, didn't he? He actually was, I think, one of the worst on the field, but hopefully that was just because of the occasion and the fact that they were taking on the world champs in that game. Plus, I think that he's learned a lot, right? Nariki's still down, and this time it looks like he's hurt his knee. So I think they need to take him off the field before he breaks absolutely every bone in his body. Now little kick him behind from Lasanga. They're going to go back for a penalty of some sort, or a knock on. In fact, yes, knock on against Bay of Plenty. 65 minutes through. There are players down absolutely everywhere. Okay, Leo Willie. This I thought was cramp, and I think they might have been getting the pickle juice out, which normally adds for the cramp. It was a good run from Lalomelo, but Nariki just going down again. It's hard to look good when you're going backwards. I think he was definitely better for it. Yeah, it's one of those ones that, like, it's a great learning experience for those younger players. Same with, like, the All Blacks 15. You know, you look through at that All Blacks 15 squad last year. In fact, I'm going to, while there's that Leo Willie injury, All Blacks 15 2024 squad. What would it be? Where can I find it? Squad name for the Northern Tour. There we go. Because there's quite a few of those guys who got prepped in that Northern Tour who are now in the All Blacks. You know, like, I want to say Quintupaya was in the All Blacks 15. I could be wrong. They are just dealing with that injury at this point in time. Lalomelo also down with the injury. So that's going to be for Paul. He will make his way on. So they had actually kind of similar in terms of the props, in terms of Xavier Numia and George Dyer were both there. The hookers, Brodie McAllister, he got himself some international experience. Josh Lord, Fabian Holland, as well as Isaiah Walker-Leawiri and Naitoa Akoi, so 2 men staying with the 15, the other 2 in the All Black squad. Duplessis Karefi, Peter Larkai, Christian Leo Willie. Hotham and Christie were the halves. Plummer and Jacob were the first 5/8s. And then Quinn Tupai, Riley Higgins was in there. AJ Lamb, Dallas McLeod. And then Amoni Narua in the back. So, you look at Narua, you look at Quinn Tupai, and those guys, I think, getting some more game time did work well for them. And look at someone like a Duplessis Karefi, captained them up against Georgia and then got that call up because of what he was able to do. Nariki's down again. But I think he's actually injured the opposition this time too. Big run from Finn Hurley going through. That will be the try that secures this game for Otago if it wasn't already. They are now running big time through this defence. Finn Hurley, I mentioned about that impact on the bench. We got the new member of Moa Hunters. Thank you very much. We have there, or I'm wrong. Says Studs Rays. And try again. Says Roop. Yeah, they've scored plenty of them. I think that's now 6 or maybe 5 in this game, in fact. No, it must be 4. Because Cam Miller hasn't been missing, has he? Finn Hurley, Leo Willie, Will Tucker, Jonah Nariki. That's all of them, isn't it? Cam Miller's 100% off the kicking tee. And he will want to continue that way, 67 through. Got about 15 seconds left of the shot clock, and he is going to use up every second that he can here. Do you think Jacob and Reves Reihana all are having to try and manage games? Oh, that one's gone over. And underperforming teams significantly help develop their game? I would say, well, the thing is, Reves Reihana, I think he looked solid all throughout the year and actually looked better in those later games when he had got the helm a little bit more. Josh Jacob, he was given very rare opportunities as a whole for the Chiefs, and normally it meant that McKenzie was playing 15, and that didn't seem to work with that Jacob and McKenzie combo. So I do think out of those two, it was harder for Jacob to look good, if that makes sense. But yeah, someone like a Cam Miller, it just shows that when he's on a good team, he is going to be able to thrive. We've seen that for Otago here. In terms of the Highlanders, he's normally not too bad either, but hopefully they can try and back up what's happening here, because it's a pretty similar squad in terms of the guys that will be available. Nariki's still on the field. I feel like he should have gone off a wee while ago. He's had about 4 injuries in the last 5 minutes. Now, downfield, Lucas Cashmere, 5 converted tries and a penalty. Says, 4 and then that try, wasn't it? I realised that my scoreboard was asleep. So I hadn't counted that one of Hurley. Going off to the right-hand side. That's going to be knocked on by Lucas Cashmore. A little bit of afters there for Sam Gilbert on Sione Tupou. And now it looks like the job has been done. Hamish, I'm an old renewed member. Got stuffed up with the new card. Cheers, says Moa Hunters. So yeah, it's greatly appreciated you coming back. I believe if you have been a member in the past, your badge will update from where you were up to, if that makes sense. I do have to add a couple new badges, I think, for the later stages, because I haven't done that just yet. The crowd happy with the fact that they will be through to the final. And the thing is, they could be a home final here for this Otago crowd, depending on what happens in Canterbury versus Hawke's Bay. Will either be an all-South Island final in Christchurch, or it will be North, and it will be taking place in Christchurch it will be either in Christchurch or it will be in Dunedin. If it's in Dunedin, it's Otago versus Hawke's Bay. In Christchurch, it's Canterbury versus Otago. Just talking about that tomorrow night fixture. Does overlap with England versus New Zealand in the T20, also in Christchurch. Now ball's going to be fed in by Pledge's replacement here, Nathan Hastie. Going to get a huge amount of game time here, but Christian Leo Willie breaking off the back, almost going through. Now Hastie again. Just the 11 minutes remaining. I'm talking about them having to make decisions and be game managers and their respective underperforming teams like Taranaki and Northland. Oh, you're talking NPC rather than Super. Yeah, I'd say that it probably does help develop the game. It can also hurt a team or a player's confidence as well, I would say. We have you shouldn't be allowed to bring players outside your region. End of story. If you don't have a player in your squad at the start of the season, you shouldn't be allowed to bring them in for a semi-final stage. Well, the good news is 26 points were not just down to that one player, so it didn't make a huge difference. In fact, he had a pretty quiet game, the guy who did get brought in, so it wasn't going to make Bay of Plenty win if Otago went with someone else. But if that's what you want to run with for the reason that they lost, then go for it. I'm not going to try and argue because that takes too much effort. Going off to the left-hand side. So in here, meters made, 875 meters made, and never mind, Bay. Here's David the Mod. Yeah, a lot of meters made by Bay of Plenty throughout this game as well. It's just been the break, and then the next pass hasn't quite worked. Throughout the second half, they've been a little bit hesitant with some of their passing in Otago. Been dangerous in those breakdowns. Going back across to the left-hand side. That was like Richard Judd back out onto the field. That must be for an injury of some sort. Not sure if that's Sinton or maybe someone else in that back line. Has gone down. Tackle was made. 40 metres out from the line. Off to the right. Now popping it in behind. Big wide cut-out pass from Cole Forbes. Now it's into the hands of Sinton. No, in fact, is it? Yeah. Sinton. And that looks like it's going to be Christian Leo Willie on the ball, told to get out of it. Oh, Cam Miller. This might be in the eyeball. Maybe a finger or something's gone in there, but he looks like he's in all sorts of trouble at the moment, Cam Miller. He is the last player that they want to be losing. Now going off to the left-hand side. Another offload. Naitoa Akoi. Little chip in behind. Attempted and just not quite cleaned up. Bay of Plenty dive on it. And it's now Roy McGarvey Black who does score the try for Bay of Plenty. Their first try in about 50 minutes or so. He recognised the chance there to be able to go for it. This kick needs to go over. It doesn't matter. So if you think Bay of Plenty were down a player, you should be allowed to bring any player from any region in a semi-final team. Says Kiwi Rob. Well, to be fair, if they didn't have anyone else available, they probably would have. And I can't believe the score. Thought Bay of Plenty would do better. Says Moa Hunters. Now, kicking chance here for Lucas Cashmore. You haven't done an NPC live stream in 3 or 4 years. We've done a few this year, but outside of this year, yeah, it's been a long time. That one just missing away. Cashmore hits the post again. Right, they're saying there Sam Nemec-Vile has made his way on. That is for Cam Miller. They were saying that they're not sure what the injury was. I think it was an eye poke, perhaps. Amish Hates NPC says, Kiwi Rob, that's not the case. I normally watch it outside of the streams when I get the chance. Most of the time, the replays, though, because of all the overnight rugby that we end up covering. And I from very stormy Sydney town was hoping Bay of Plenty might have done better, but was fairly sure Otago were going to win, says Glenn Woods. Oh, Finn Hurley. He's also limping off the field. Tell you what, there's going to be no one left for the final if this keeps on going. So Finn Hurley comes back from injury and now leaves the field with another one. That might be the calf muscle of Finn Hurley by the looks of it, but Lucas Casey also taken off the field. That is going to be for Harry Taylor. Those two men, Dylan Pledger and Lucas Casey, they won't be too far away from international rugby, that is for sure. But now going off the right-hand side, Bay of Plenty inside of their own 22. Otago's defence has just been very strong throughout the second half of rugby, forcing Bay of Plenty back multiple times, and it looks like they have no option but to kick here for the Bay. Rolling it back again, Richard Judd. This one, not quite going to find touch for Richard Judd around the halfway line. Picking it up and going again for Sam Nemec-Vile. Liam Coltman. Naito Akoi trying to get that, still can't quite do it, and the fatigue will really be setting in for these two sides, not just because of the injuries, but also because of the tempo that this game has been played at. Now this one should be a marking chance, and nicely taken by Cole Forbes. Takes the quick dab going off to the right-hand side now, 22 metres out from his own line. Now another offload. Cole Forbes popping it in behind. I don't know if he meant to do that, but it's gone straight into the hands of Joe Johnston. A skip pass out to Sinton. To Bay of Plenty's credit, they haven't given up in this game. They still want that one more try. Those missed kicks, I think, have been hurting them quite badly. Already missing the 2, and that's a big knock on. No pressure on Cashmore whatsoever. Just has it go through the hands. You haven't done an NPC game since the Shield change. Says Kiwi Rob. That is true, although that does not mean that I hate the NPC as you're trying to start rumours for. It just means that, for one, we've been busy, and for two, normally I just watch them outside of the stream. It's normally a little bit better at times to watch them outside of the stream too, because I get to do a bit more research about the players then because of hearing the commentary. Whereas on the live streams, as you guys know, I can't hear much. Cam Miller, they're just talking about him going off for an HIA, although I think it was an eye poke that he dealt with. But the thing is, if he fails his HIA, he's out for next week. And that would mean that he is unavailable. That could be the difference. You have time to do URC, but not any of the NPC. True, because it's a different time zone. And also, the URC, I already know quite a few of the players. Plus, I don't have to research them to the same extent as the New Zealand players. Be nice, Kiwi Rob. Kiwi Rob's never nice. He's a whiny bitch. But now, ready to go for this one. 5 meters out from the line. Well, sorry, not 5 meters out from the line, but 5 minutes remaining. Now, chance here, another scrum reset. They're just going to shuffle them across to the side. It wins the first 15. They are going to be playing early November in the match up against the Barbarians. We all think our team can do it. That's why they are our team. Love it. Love your coverage. In fact, I depend on it. So here's Fossil NZ. Okay, they're just showing a couple of the veterans of the game from back in the day. Currently 4.5 minutes remaining on the clock. Otago know that they have won this one. Now it's just to try and avoid injuries, but they've lost Finn Hurley. They've lost Cam Miller. Josh Wanga went off pretty early. I don't think that was injury related. They had Leo Willie dealing with a bit of cramp earlier on. Now Pledge has got out of the game without an injury, which is a massive bonus, and it's another penalty going the way of Otago at scrum time. And this will be, I would assume, another 3 points. We have there. I like that you are doing NPC, but clearly you need to get views, and URC gets the views. Says Studs Rays. Well, it's not even just that. It's just more so the overlaps for the NPC. Because, you know, cricket season's always going to affect at least a few rounds at the end. In the earlier stages, like, it's annoying the amount of overlaps. The Rugby Championship, for instance, during that stage, I'm normally sleeping during the NPC time. And that doesn't matter. You can bring in Southland players into your game day squad. Says Kiwi Rob. I feel like we're going to hear about that one till next year, aren't we? I hope the All Blacks coaches are watching. They might pick up a few clues on how to coach a backline, says Toby. And we have got there, what do you think of the AB Store of South Africa? I'm excited to see it happen. I'm disappointed that we don't get a Rugby Championship. Only because this year's Rugby Championship, I think, was the best we've had possibly ever. And now, you know, they're going to have to rebuild that hype in 2 years' time rather than just next year when the momentum's still flowing. But that kick has gone over. There's Waisaki Naholo in the stands watching on. And Holo in the crowd. Says Studs Rays there as well. What we're going to do is we're going to add those extra points, making the score now 41 points to 17. Just the 2.5 minutes remaining there too. Nicely taken. Just saying there, either way it is a South Island final. Either Christchurch, if we see Hawke's Bay beat Canterbury, or we'll be down in Dunedin. Dunedin, if we do see Hawke's Bay beat Canterbury, or Canterbury will be hosting if they are able to get themselves the win. Ron, there is Rugby Championship in 2027. That is literally what I said, Kiwi Rob. Go back, listen to the replay, and then come back once you've heard what I said. And what a thrashing. Well done, Otago, says Moa Hunters. Now going back across to the right-hand side. Little step there. And another offload. Naitoa Koi. One of his first runs of the whole game. It's taken 78 minutes. To get his hands on the ball. Now a little pop pass up from Hereti Hatet. And another knock on. We have there. It's a very, very long way from Tauranga Domain. Thanks so much. Another great call, says Studs Rays. To the Forsyth Bar Stadium. Unfortunately, Andre Pollard's wife is due to give birth soon. So Pollard returns to South Africa. Should have gone with the team. They have a doctor, says Bruce, although you should know, Bruce, by now that pregnant women aren't supposed to fly in the later stages of pregnancy for obvious reasons. That one's going to go into touch. Now sitting with 1 minute remaining on the clock. Big driving tackle made by Jonah Nariki on Sinton. Now just the 50 seconds or so remaining by the time this ball goes back in. Otago 41 points, a pretty dominant type of showing. Definitely throughout the second half. They were up by 9 at half time. Ready to throw this ball in for Liam Coltman. Nicely taken again by Joe Tamani. This one's rolling forward. Are you going to do Canterbury versus Hawke's Bay? Depends on whether or not I'm home from cricket in time. I would like to, but there is a chance that I won't be back until a little bit after. Last week, I got home at about 7:30, which meant I missed the start of that game on Saturday last week. Congratulations, Otago. Absolutely deserved finalists. Another great call, Hamish. Says Dub in the mod there. She could have gone on a boat, says Bruce, or he could have just stayed home. Just easier, isn't it? Rather than organising it, the boat transfer. Now Pledger is back out on the field. I believe that is due to, I think Hasty went off with an injury. Are you recording the cricket? Not this year. Second grade, they aren't that keen on a camera. So I wasn't able to record last year's season, and I probably won't be able to record this year's either. Unfortunately, that one's going to go into touch. And that will be the end of the game, ladies and gentlemen. Otago win at 41-17. And they will be through to the final, and they will be finding out soon. Are they heading up to Christchurch, or are they staying in Dunedin for the week of preparation? I can tell you right now what one they would prefer. Although, to be fair, they have won in Christchurch already this year. For the NPC, they were able to beat Canterbury in the Ramfurly Shield Challenge. Otago don't deserve to be in the final. They had a player that wasn't in the squad at the start of the season. Says Kiwi Rob there. Yeah. But 41 points to 17. The way that this game ended. Cheers, buddy. Have a great game in the cricket. Says David the Mod. And there as well. But the Dunedin fans happy. 10,700 in attendance for this game. Some nervous moments early on when we did see Bay of Plenty score themselves the first try of the matchup. But then Otago able to fire back. Get themselves a few in a row. Finish off this game on a high. They were able to get themselves 5 converted tries throughout this matchup. They advanced to their first top-tier final since 2005. So a 20-year wait. Okay, Finn Hurley. He's at least standing on that leg. Not very easily. I won't mention him and Finia Nofo just having a bit of a chat there, but there are a few concerns. Cam Miller. We didn't find out if he passed his HIA. Hang on, will they have their All Blacks 15 next week? I don't think, or I think they get their All Blacks 15 players still. I could be wrong though. So who would that be for Bay of Plenty, for Otago? They didn't have that many, only Leo Willie. I believe. From that whole side. Yeah, just Christian Leo Willie as the only player that they may not have due to him being in the All Blacks 15. If it was Bay of Plenty, then they would have lost Tavita Mafaleo, Naitoa Akoi. No, that would be all. So, yeah, I think they may get to still play in the final. But more than likely, those guys playing in the NPC final probably wouldn't play that first game up against the Barbars. Dubois isn't the best halfback combo in the comp in the EB's 15. And Miller and Pledger would be starters. Says Hartley, yeah. So Jonathan Joseph, he kind of said that the plan was to kind of give them one more chance. And Pledger, for instance, he said he wanted to see him in a Super Rugby season first, but I think a lot of people would have loved to see him. And they said, I see Josh Timu in the back in the knee brace. Then there's also someone else in a moon boot. If New Zealand 15 players aren't playing in the final, New Zealand Rugby Union have gone completely tropo. What about Can't? What about Canterbury, I assume that is. 1 second. I'll go like this. Fixtures. Where are they? Canterbury, way down there. There we go. So Canterbury lineup, they would lose. I think that they are able to play, though, I will say. But if they aren't, Canterbury would lose George Bell, Sam Derry, which they may lose Derry anyway, due to his All Blacks commitments. They would lose Dallas McLeod, Braden Inor, and Che Fiaki. But once again, I don't think they'll lose those guys. I think that they'll stay back and play, because or else then you're taking, 5 players away from Canterbury. So you risk players next week final? Absolutely you would. If it's for the All Blacks 15, worst comes to worst, you get another guy who's not injured from the NPC and you fly him over instead. I think that the All Blacks guys will be different. The likes of a Sam Derry I don't think would be able to play next week unless Robertson's feeling very generous, but which he might, because he probably doesn't see Derry that high up due to him being the late injury change for Tui Pelotu. So Pledger definitely starting over Whakatava at the Highlanders. I don't know. It's a tricky one. It depends on what they want to do with Whakatava. I think that Whakatava could be a great finisher, but then at the same time, he's that senior player. So it depends on what Jamie Joseph's thinking, whether or not he wants to go with Pledger late in the game or whether he wants Whakatava as that guy. Or perhaps they just go 1 game start, 1 game off the bench, and then, the other guys will fill in the gaps. But big win, 41 points to 7. For full time in this contest. There we go. I have just moved my mouse and it has said full time. Nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. Tomorrow, we're a bit uncertain about what games are being covered on the channel just for now. It depends on what time I get home from cricket. If I'm home early enough, we may even be doing Australia 15 versus Japan 15. If not, I'm hoping to do the NPC, but also may not be, just depending on when I'm back. As if you were the All Blacks 15 coach, you would risk your players next weekend? Yeah. I think that Jamie Joseph, he knows the role of that All Blacks 15 team. And he knows that the NPC, you're not going to take those guys away from the sides 1 week before. It will be no different to what we saw for when the likes of, who was it? Was it Leo Willie and someone else? They both stayed back, played NPC. I think it was Simon Parker, actually. They both played some NPC and then flew over. So, I think Robertson and Joseph both know the importance of the NPC. The fact that these guys have worked so hard to get their sides where they are, they're not just going to take that opportunity away from them. They're going to let them finish the story for them, or at least give them a chance of getting that title. Because if anything, yes, they may get injured, but if they win, they're going to be on a high when they head into the camp, and that will definitely boost the mood for the other guys in there too. Otago need Hawke's Bay to win for a home final? Correct, yes. So if we see Hawke's Bay beat Canterbury, the final will be in Dunedin. If the Canterbury side win up against Hawke's Bay, it will be in Christchurch. NPC has New Zealand competition, New Zealand B team. It's a developmental tour. Respect the country fans, please, says Studs Race. I think the big word there is respect. Whether or not Kiwi Rob does know of it. But, yeah, they'll play NPC. The All Blacks guys won't, though. The likes of a Sam... Well, no, I'm still sticking with Sam Derry being there in the final if they make it. Tavita Mafaleo, I don't see him, had they made it to the final, I don't think he would have played. I think that they would have probably brought him over just due to the injuries that they've had in the propping department. Otago deserves the home final. They've been good, getting good crowds. Says the Sporting Kiwi, 10,700 attending this match between the sides. It'll be interesting to see that comparison with Canterbury tomorrow night. Definitely with the fact that there is a cricket match taking place at Hagley Oval as well. It's rough if you stop them playing in the final after a season. Absolutely. They've done all the hard work to get there. And there is also a part of me that thinks maybe that's why Jamie Joseph didn't select too many Otago players, because he thought that they would be through to the final and didn't want to, impact them too much. You have to remember that the All Blacks 15 players can be called up to the All Blacks. That is true. But at the same time, I think it still comes down to the fact that they won't want to take them out of their teams too early. And if they weren't going to be, the thing is, it's the Barbarians match as the first game. So I don't think they're going to be targeting that one per se. They'll be looking at England A as their big game and the one that they really want to go for. Then they've got Uruguay. And that's where you can chuck in those guys from the NPC as well. But yeah, I think that the game up against the Barbars is going to be an unpredictable Barbars team. Hopefully we find that out in the near future. I think that's after everyone's done their selections. But yeah, it would make sense. Give them the final. Don't take it away from them. Okay, there's the game done. It is indeed. End score 41 points to 17 in favour of Otago. Hoskins Tutu clearly no longer an option for the All Blacks. says the Sporting Kiwi. Yeah, he kind of shot himself in the foot, unfortunately, Satutu. And the fact that he's not even in the All Blacks 15 as well tells you that he shot himself in the foot with more than one player or more than one coach. Obviously, the off-field attitude is not quite what they are looking for. As guy actors Hiroshima, Japan, 28-21 against Hong Kong. Says Kiwi Robbie. I do see they've actually got a game next week as well. Hong Kong, which is great to see, seeing as they are in that next World Cup. They do need some game time heading into it. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Like I mentioned, a little bit unsure about what is happening tomorrow in terms of schedule. But as soon as we know, of course, I will start scheduling things on the channel. The one guarantee that we have got is the fact that we will be able to do the URC throughout the night. Not too sure about that first game between Lions and someone. 1 second. It is the Lions and Scarlets. Not sure if we're going to be able to cover that game as of yet, but Sharks versus Ulster will be happening on the channel. Also, we will be doing the Stormers versus Zebra game, and then hopefully Leinster Munster, and like I said, maybe Lions Scarlets thrown in there as well. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in, and I will see you all for the next one.